Hi, I'm Cindy Gay, and in part one of this three-part series, I'm going to show you how to draw a basic rectangle for your rug hooking pattern. Most rugs start with this basic shape. Now, if you want to do an oval, stay tuned for part two. I'll show you what to do in part two to make it an oval. And in part three, I will show you the all-important step that you need to do in order to avoid an oval or a round rug from ending up as a rippled mess. So that'll be in part three. For now, let's tackle that basic rectangular shape and get it on the backing. Every rug hooking pattern starts with a basic rectangle. And the best way to position your rectangle on your backing is to cut your backing to the correct side. Now, this one is the end of a bolt. So it is one really long piece. And so I'm going to use the backing to determine what size I'm going to use. And I think I'm going to do a 9 by 11. So, and I want to have, that's 11. Let's pretend that I folded this in half, and this is the halfway point because my backing's the perfect size. Well, nothing could be further from the truth right now, but that's the way I'm going to run with it. And then let's fold this in half because that is cut to the right size. And I'm going to draw this line. There is an article on my website on Cindy Gay Rug Hooking that teaches you all the details about how to draw this line, but you saw how easy it was. And I think there's a video inside the Rug Hooking Journey membership. And then what I want to do is I want to measure off of this center point. So if I want to go 11, that's going to be 5.5 inches. And then what did I say, 9? So that'll be 4.5 inches. And I've left a very wide margin, but I like to leave wide margins on this because I might be hooking and I might want to make it bigger. So I always leave nice big margins, but you do what works for you. I've never regretted leaving a wide margin. I have regretted not leaving enough. So there's my hooked piece. Now what we don't know is, are these angles at perfect right angle? We drew the line perfectly in the ditch of the threads, but is that thread lined up perfectly or is it slanted one way or another? The perfect trick is to measure the diagonal. And in this case, I'm about right here. I usually, for the first measurement, just keep my finger on it and then use my finger on that point to see how it lines up. It's not too bad, but it's a little bit short. So I'm going to tweak it that way. There, now it's about 14.25 or 14.125. Now I did it too far. So I'm going to go back this way. 14. And wow. Do it again. Helps if you've got a newer ruler. This one's been through the mill. This is a little over 14.5. And that's 14. I'm going to take drastic measures. And I'm going to really pull on it. And I'm going to pull on it in a couple of different places. That's what happens with these end of the bolt pieces. They can sometimes get really skewed. And you just got to put a little bit more muscle into it. I pull it out of whack too far. I'm going to get a ruler that I can see better. Okay, so let's try this again with a ruler that has a little bit clearer markings. So 14 and 1/8, 14 and like 5/8. So we need to stretch it. Stretch it on the short one. See, that seems crooked to me, but let's try this. Why can't I get this straight? I'm going to call that a match. So it was pulling it this way that seemed to help rather than the diagonal. It's actually the first time that ever happened. So that was a good lesson, and it gives you a chance to kind of see. But now that it is perfectly square, now what I would do would be to trace off my pattern on a piece of dotless red dot. Here's a small sample piece that I send out. It is so thin that it's almost not there. I think it's actually thinner than what the old red dot is. So I think you can see even more underneath it, maybe because the red dots aren't confusing you. But this dotless red dot works even better. And because I can get it a little bit cheaper than regular red dot, it's much, much cheaper for you to buy it. So you can lay in a stock of it and have plenty for the months to come. And then what I would do is simply line it up and then start tracing your pattern. But you've got the good foundation because you have a good square, a good rectangle set up that is perfectly in the grain of the fabric. Thank you for watching this video about how to start with a rectangle when you're drawing your rug cooking pattern. Getting it square means all the difference in the world. After that, you can simply trace your design through a light box or using what I use, which is dotless red dot. And you can order that on my website at cindygayrugcooking.com. For now, let's continue with episode number 2.